Hi guys, this is Angela from the London App Brewery, and in this module I have something really exciting that I'm going to talk to you about, and that's Core ML. So this is Apple's new machine learning framework, and it's something that's going to enable us as app developers to make our apps more intelligent. Now, ever since it was announced at WWDC in June, we've all been really excited, and I've been trying out a number of things using CoreML, implementing it in a number of applications. So in this module, I want to introduce you to what machine learning is. So if you've never heard of machine learning, or you just want a quick once over of what are the various aspects of it and some of the theory behind how machine learning works, then this is the place to be. So firstly, we're going to talk about what machine learning is, and then we're going to move on to the different types of machine learning that are currently available and some of the real life applications of machine learning. And then we're going to jump into a practical session where I teach you how to use Core ML to implement visual recognition in your iOS app using Swift 4. So I can't wait to get started. I hope you're the same. So let's begin. I want to start off by addressing what exactly is machine learning. Now, as with everything ending in ing, machine learning is simultaneously a problem as well as a solution. So it's basically a field of study that allows computers to learn without being explicitly programmed. So throughout this entire course, we've been teaching you how to program using Swift and how to give the computer, be it the iPhone or the iPad, explicit instructions as to what it should do. So for example, in the Quizlet app, when the user taps on the right answer, we're saying if user got the answer right, then show them a tick and tell them you were right, right? So that's an if statement. What if instead of giving the computer instructions like step 1, do this, then do that. If this happens, then do that. What if we just try to teach it like we would a child and get it to learn through its experience? Well, this is kind of what machine learning is. So let me give you an example. So I've got a BB-8 here, and let's say we want it to go towards the endpoint. So that's where the flagpole is. Now, I could program this by saying to the robot or the BB-8, move forwards. So this is, of course, pseudocode, but you get the point. So move forwards. Right, so it moves forward, and oh look, there's an obstruction, and it can't continue moving forwards. So in my code, I could have a line that addresses this. I could say, if there is an obstruction, then you should move right. So it moves right, and then if there's no more obstructions, then you should move forwards or move towards the flagpole. So this is basically a really simple script that tells the robot to move to the flagpole, covering the least amount of distance. Now, that's all very well and good, but what if the obstruction was over here, or if it was down there? Then my program would completely fail because it would just continue moving forwards and it actually doesn't hit an obstruction, but it's also going nowhere near the flagpole. So this is a very simple example. Of course, you can make your program more complex by saying, figure out what is the coordinate of the flagpole and try to reduce the distance between the robot and the flagpole. And if there is an obstruction, then dodge it left or right, and then continue trying to progress towards the flagpole. Now, that's definitely possible. But if instead we employed machine learning, then we could simply tell the robot to find the shortest route to the flagpole. And it would, maybe bump around and go in all sorts of different directions. But once it hits the flagpole, then we'll give it a reward and tell it, you've got it right. And over time, if we keep training it, and we get it to do this many times, then it'll learn to avoid obstructions and figure out the shortest route to the flagpole, all without any explicit code writing on our part. So this is essentially the fundamentals of machine learning. And it's defined as the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So the actual term machine learning was actually coined by this guy, Arthur Samuel. And he was the guy who first wrote what could be said as a machine learning algorithm to play checkers. And he figured out a way of getting a robot to play checkers without telling it explicitly what to do. Instead, his code asked the machine to try and learn by itself and try and optimize itself over repeated games. So if you know anything about machine learning, or if you know nothing about machine learning, the most important thing to remember is that it's usually split into two broad categories. So supervised machine learning, or unsupervised machine learning. And this relates to how you train the machine learning model.